Hello and welcome to Left Coast Live. It is Wednesday, May 21st. I am your host, Deter McBusiness, joined as always by the one and only Stat Pat, stateless patriot from the Central Valley. We are West Coast lefties coming to you live, mostly about national politics, sometimes about local politics. Today, it's going to be a little personal because I have actively been avoiding the news, and Stat Pat is going to get me caught up on everything that I have missed and what I should care about. But I'll start off by telling you that the last thing I remember about the news recently was Trump getting a jet from Qatar, which is to be the new Air Force One, which is just absolutely obscene
Yeah.
and ridiculous. And the truth is greater than fiction, right? Stranger than fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. um it's just blatant corruption. It's so obvious, and it's like we were talking about last week. It's like, you know, those planes may be built by American companies, but it's like it's you don't no one has an extra $400 million just laying around to give to someone as a gift, even if it's in the form of like a fucking jet that's going to be used as Air Force One. One of those famous
But what
planes.
about
In general.
security? What it's got to be, I
Exactly.
mean, it's got to be one of
Yeah.
the most sophisticated, pieces of technology on in the world.
Of
And
course.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's gotten surreal. And I'm just like, I think my advocacy now is twofold. One, intellectually, I want to make sure that MAGA is a verdict on all of conservatism, not just
Yes.
the alt right.
Of course.
MAGA is the natural result of Reagan conservatism devolved
Yeah.
over 40 years. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what you get. So that's number one. That's the intellectual advocacy that is my major priority right now. The second is strategy, actually, tactics, I should say.
Hmm.
I want the I 95 Northeast Corridor featuring Boston, New York, Philly, Baltimore, and DC. Okay.
Hmm.
I want them to unite with cities like Chicago and LA and Seattle and San Francisco and all the bluest cities in America
Yeah.
and say that if you come in to our restaurants, bars, or clubs or public events, we will invoke our right to refuse service to anyone and tell you to leave. You
Yeah.
will not be welcome in these cities if you wear MAGA paraphernalia. And if you have MAGA stuff on your car, get ready, have your spare tires ready because your tires are probably going to get slashed. I mean,
Yeah.
the advocacy there, and I think it's something that especially a lot of women are going to be reluctant to engage in.
Right.
It's citizen versus citizen. Like, it's not about just the MAGA Trump trash politicians anymore. It's not just about the Republican politicians anymore. This is about people that empower those people. Okay.
Of
The good
course.
news is that it's about 1/3 of the voting public, but it's about 20% of the general population. So
Yeah.
that's the good news, is that it is a pretty manageable minority, but managing
Right.
it is not going to be what someone who is not familiar with the sociopathy of conservatism, that's not going to be effective. It needs to be a united rejection of that culture, values, and politics
Yeah.
for, and put into our educational systems of like, conservative capitalism doesn't work. And here's the proof. Here's 45 years of proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to
Ex-
be 46. It's going to be 48 years by the time Trump gets out of office. Damn near
Right.
50 years of proof that conservative capitalism does not work.
Yeah.
And I don't, and don't even like lefties who try to, like, I see these this content about like debates and stuff that comes out. Stop debating them.
Yeah.
Tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
Tell them to shut the fuck up because they're dead wrong about everything.
Yeah.
Like, do you argue? Do you argue with a child? Do
Yeah.
you argue with a child? Or you just tell them to sit down and shut up because I'm the adult.
Right.
That's what we got to do. I'm done arguing with these people.
Yeah.
If you don't know if you don't know your history enough to know that this doesn't work and that there are better alternatives, then I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Go Google FDR, go Google the New Deal, go Google Eisenhower and then tax rates under Eisenhower. If you don't know these things, I'm not going to do your fucking homework for you.
Yeah.
So this is my advocacy. This is the war, right? I say on my YouTube
course.
channel, if someone goes to war with you, you have no choice but to go to war with them. Well, this
Yes.
is the left going to war with MAGA. Don't come to our blue cities wearing your MAGA trash paraphernalia.
Yeah.
That's the deal. You
Yeah.
keep that shit at home, preferably burn it, because it might as well be a fucking swastika. And
No,
if you
of
want to
course.
simplify the message even more, anything that we see that says MAGA, we're going to treat it as if it's a swastika. And you could advocate like the swastika is illegal. Like we could advocate for MAGA paraphernalia to be illegal.
No, of course. Yeah. I mean, we were kind of working towards that with like I guess the Confederate flag and whatnot, but then there's just like too much of a gray area. Like, oh, it means this to some people, and it means that to some people.
No,
It
now's
signifies
the
this and that.
time. Now's the time
Yeah,
to make that's us fighting back on culture war issues. That's a great
of
idea.
course.
We're going to
Yeah,
make the Confederate flag illegal, unless you want to use it to burn. Unless
sure.
you want to publicly display it for burning, then you host it on your flag, you're gonna get fined.
Yeah.
You put that flag up on your fucking house, you're gonna get fined.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
about
I
that?
mean, like we were talking about, just the ignorance of history and how like this is almost 50 years of the failure of the Reagan doctrine and what have you, just
Yeah,
conservative capitalism in general. I finally got around to watching that crash course in the history video from Robert Reich. Fucking
yeah,
excellent,
excellent,
wonderful
right?
video. Like it's a
Yep.
really great video. Everybody here watching should go check it out. Ultimate Crash Course in History by Robert Reich. He does 6 points, 6 moments in history that fundamentally shaped this country and where we're at now. And history doesn't exactly repeat itself, but it does rhyme, and you can pick up on a whole lot of very familiar um, aspects of history and how it mirrors what's going on today. Yeah, and it's a great video.
Yeah. Yeah. Robert Reich is hell of an intellectual.
Hmm.
We need more like him. He's
Yeah,
not
I agree.
perfect, but he knows how to explain things that are
Hmm.
actually pretty complicated, and he
Yeah,
knows how to explain things that are complicated into a comprehensible way, which is
yeah,
very useful.
it was
It's
really well
funny
done.
though. Did you see the Pete Buttigieg thing where he like talked to Andrew Schultz or something and like flipped Andrew Schultz from MAGA?
I saw Bernie talking to Andrew Schultz. I
Yeah,
haven't
what
seen.
happened with that?
It was really good, honestly. Like, he actually got Andrew Schultz to agree with him on a whole lot of things and whatnot, and it was like it's basically kind of like watching Andrew Schultz figure out stuff in real time. I mean,
Right,
he's
because
still
he's not educated, right?
no, yeah, he's a slime bag, yeah, of course. But I haven't seen anything regarding Pete Buttigieg uh, talking to him or anything like that. Even though he's clearly like he wants to be president. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the first people to announce for 2028. He's really making the rounds, and I don't like him. I He's got some good ideas and he's rhetorically sound. Um, you know, Nominally progressive, but not what we need. Heading the party, of course.
I just found out.
It sucks
Wow.
how
So
popular he is too.
Andrew Schultz went to UCSB. Ironically enough, that's pretty funny.
UCSB. Oh,
Yeah,
Santa Barbara.
UC Santa Barbara. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
That's funny.
that is funny. Graduated with a bachelor arts degree in psychology.
Interesting.
Yeah, which means he should be able to be reasoned with, but he just seems like such a punk. He just
No,
seems like
yeah,
he's like too cool. It's like, dude, if you looked in the mirror, you're not like,
right.
what are you doing talking shit about
Yeah,
other human beings? Like,
wasn't he the guy who was at like a Trump rally before the election who basically all called Puerto Ricans like
no, that was another
trash?
guy.
Okay,
No, that
yeah,
was
okay.
another guy. That was Kill Tony.
Oh yeah, that fucking guy. That's right. Yeah, yeah. I Tony Hinchcliffe, I believe it was. Yeah, fucking unfortunate. Kind of decent show, whatever. The coming on, like all the comedians coming on and whatnot. But yeah, like just not good people. Like Theo Vaughn is another example where it's just like, why is this guy saying anything politically related or anything like that when he's clearly just like, you know, uh, sees everything at a surface level. But even him, like he actually came out with he posted a video clip of him talking about like the Gaza genocide, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah,
this is actually
yeah.
happening right in front of our lives, and we're complicit in it. It's like it's crazy. So it's like, I mean, it's something,
Yeah, Israel Gaza is always something that you can get people to kind of be like, yeah, the progressive left stands on the moral high ground there.
of
There's because
course, yeah,
it's not hard to. It's not
no,
hard to. You just got to recognize that Israel is committing genocide,
yeah,
and the only reason the US isn't talking shit about it is because of APAC.
of
And if
course,
you don't agree with that, then you're an
yeah,
asshole and you're just in denial and you don't understand dick about campaign finance because APAC
no,
has their hands in everybody. Go check out
exactly,
APAC campaign. Until you go and check out APAC campaign donations, I really don't want to hear anything you have to say about, you know,
yeah,
the Israel Palestine conflict. I
no,
really
of
don't.
course,
There's just no point in reasoning with you.
yeah,
Um, yeah, this guy Schultz, man, I'm like liking him less and less.
no, of
He
course,
got married. He got married in Montecito. Yeah, but
yeah,
he was talking. He talks a lot of shit.
no, of course.
He talks a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's part of that
Um,
whole bubble of guys
conservative
who
comedians.
yeah, I mean, quote unquote comedians and people who are pampered by the right or suck up to right wingers and whatnot, but hide behind the veneer of I'm just a nobody. I don't know what's going on. I'm not politically one way or the other. When like most of their political talking points are pulled straight from conservatism and actual like conservative political media and whatnot. And Tim pulls the same damn way.
Yeah,
You know,
Tim Pool took money from Russia.
yeah, he did.
So did Benny
Literally.
Johnson.
Yeah, Benny Johnson, Lauren Chen, and fucking Dave Rubin, everybody's favorite political lol cow.
Dave Rubin. How you can
Yeah,
think that that guy is smart? The fact that he has like a
no.
million subs is just like so
Yeah,
depressing.
he was one of the first people after like the whole Gamergate thing, when Trump was during his first term and shit, to make the switch because he was given money by PragerU and probably Russia at that time too, to slowly basically like leave the left but still consider himself as being part of the left or being a liberal and shit. And the grift paid off for him. Like I used to be part of the Young Turks. I used to be
Yeah, but he's a
progressive.
sellout, and he's
Of
not welcome in
course.
like in gay circles. Like the gay
No.
elite gays are like hate him.
No,
So
and that's the most
you know,
ironic thing is it's like you're part of the leopards eating people's faces party, and like you think that they're not going to come for you.
right?
Like
And you
look
used to
no
talk
further
shit.
than
It's like, the people that are your fans, Dave, they don't want you near their kids. You know that,
yeah,
right?
no,
You know that
exactly.
they think you're gross. They think you're living in sin.
Yeah, there's a
So
famous moment when he was talking
they
to
hate you.
Yeah, yeah, he was talking to Ben Shapiro, and a viral clip, when they were having the conversation, and Ben Shapiro was saying that he wouldn't even invite him to his house or
Right.
a wedding or what have you, or like he would Ben Shapiro wouldn't attend Dave Rubin's wedding. It's just like yeah, like these
They look
like
down on them.
right, yeah, yeah. It's
That's the whole
intolerant.
point, though. That's the narcissism. Narcissism, obviously, it breeds thinking of yourself as superior to others.
Yeah.
And again, it's a counterintuitive part about superiority over others where, you'd think like thinking of yourself as so great would make you
Hmm.
feel superior to others. But actually, the easiest way to feel superior to someone else is just to knock them down and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you're sexually depraved, therefore you are inferior to me." And
Right.
that's what Ben Shapiro is telling Dave Rubin, and Dave Rubin's such a pussy that
Hmm.
he won't take it.
Yeah.
He'll just take it, and he'll just take it because that's what his audience wants, and he's going to do what his audience wants.
No, of course. Yeah.
And he's pathetic. He's
No, of course.
pathetic. Dave Rubin
Like
is
they all
fucking
are.
pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Twink.
S- So, I was thinking
Yeah.
why don't we get into your Who Are MAGA series? Because I've watched a bunch of your videos, and
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually seen any of your Who Are MAGA series videos
All right.
except for the Gun Nuts video.
Okay.
And looks like you got 6 Who Are MAGA videos, and we can start at, like, the beginning with the Misguided Misfits sociopathic
Uh,
syndicate if you'd like.
all right. Let's
Cool.
see. Let's see. Filter.
Dive deep into Who Are MAGA, and then we can probably do this next week too, and just continue with these videos.
Sure. Um, you did the gun nuts one.
Yeah. So the
All
oldest
right.
one
So
I
the
see
Bible
here.
beaters one has a lot of like Bible quotes, so I don't want to do like that one. But all right, let's do the misguided misfits one, just because this has
Start
changed
off, yeah.
actually. This has
Oh yeah.
actually changed because all right,
What's changed particularly, like the layout
the
or?
statistics. No, the
Oh, okay.
statistics.
I see.
Um, all right, here we go.
Sweet.
Students of American political history recognize that, intellectually speaking, MAGA is nothing more than the socio-political devolution of Reaganism into Trumpism.
It's true.
Given the relatively homogeneous demographic makeup of the Republican base, outsiders struggle to comprehend the internal psychographics of Trump-era conservatism. But those of us who inherited a baby boomer conservative belief system do not. My first 2 episodes advocated my understanding of the heartless 0.1 percenters who run this country to help explain how today's status quo came to be.
That's how I was introduced to you.
They address how conservatives are manipulated by conservative politicians and conservative media outlets into voting against their own socioeconomic interests, and why those right-wing distraction tactics have worked so well for so long. Educated and enlightened Americans might have been able to surmise the insight I have offered thus far. But according to public discourse on mainstream media outlets these days, anti-Trump Americans still struggle to cope with what 21st century American conservatism has become, and how
Hmm.
so many Americans enthusiastically support the Trump movement with
I
their
will
vote,
say this.
attention, and attendance.
I'll say this. I think more than ever, like middle America, liberals, anti-MAGA, what have you, are more aware than they ever have been before by not just the incompetence, the fecklessness, but
Corruption.
the corruption, the evil, the like just the complete carelessness and the two-facedness, I guess you could say, of Trump and the MAGA agenda. Like his
Mm-hmm.
administration right now under his second term, it couldn't be more like blatant and just open for everybody to see.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. So
I,
this has become more transparent. So at
yeah,
the time that I make this video, there was a lot more popularized Trump defense going on. But
yeah,
now I think what you're saying is the momentum for the anti-MAGA movement is building.
Yeah,
each passing day.
yeah, because there's not as much dismissal and downplaying like there was before when this video was made. It's just like, oh, I
Right.
mean, was it really that bad? Are these people just like misunderstood
Right.
and this and that? But it's just on full display now, just how bad things are and how destructive um this administration is currently to the social programs, to the economy, geopolitically, our alliances and shit, all kinds of shit. And like they've been exposed as the fucking liars they are, as more and more time goes on.
Now, I'm about to simplify MAGA so that anyone and everyone, including foreigners understandably befuddled by American conservative culture, can identify a MAGA member on the spot
Mhm.
and spare themselves the emotional anguish of an intellectual challenge akin to teaching a fifth grader calculus. That would be, of course, convincing a conservative that their worldview is counterproductive to improving American society.
Yeah.
Within the context of American political discourse, effective communication about MAGA should build upon Einstein's understanding of purposeful knowledge, making my eighth Deter decree: simplicity is the essence of genius, but oversimplification is the death of progress.
That's true.
Many leftists appropriately discourage oversimplifying minority groups into monoliths. In turn,
Yeah.
I seek to discourage you from oversimplifying conservatives into an intellectual monolith simply because they all seem to look, sound, and think the same way. It is very tempting for left wing rhetoric to commit the fallacy of composition when analyzing MAGA Americans, but the truth is that they are not all from the deep South and love to wave their Confederate flag. They don't all beat their Bible and tell you to vote Republican or you'll burn in hell. They are not all paranoid gun nuts, but most are.
Hmm.
And you can definitely say that the ones we're going to be talking
Yeah.
about today are. Welcome to the fifth foundational episode of American WASP, where we all agree you don't get change in America by asking nicely. I am your host, Deter McBusiness,
Took a
New England's
3-minute
favorite
intro.
white Anglo-Saxon Protestant gone
It
West
works.
Coast.
I'm hooked.
In 2016, Reaganism officially died, and Republicans became Trumplicans.
Mhm.
In 2020, Trumplicans became Trump trash. And on January 6, 2021, Trump trash became terrorists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are MAGA a band of misguided misfits that constitute nothing more than a public nuisance? Or is MAGA a sociopathic syndicate constituting an existential threat to our democracy? Now, I don't know about you, but when I watch mainstream media, I keep hearing the same kind of tired rhetorical questions I heard 8 years ago when Trump announced his candidacy for president. How can anyone support this idiot? Don't
Mhm.
people see that this guy is just a narcissistic phony? Is half of America just straight up crazy for supporting this soon to be convicted criminal?
Mm.
The best way to answer those repetitive and redundant questions is to segment the tribes within the tribe of MAGA, then subsequently judge their citizenship without judging their humanity,
Which
according
Yeah.
to that sociocultural segmentation.
so I still really struggle with this though, because I think if your citizenship is MAGA now, then you're just not a good person. If you're
No, yeah.
still MAGA now after him becoming president again and doing all the
Mhm.
shit that he's been doing, especially
Yeah.
with deportations, like if you still back Trump at this point, like you're not a good person. You're
Yeah.
just not.
Like you just made it your entire personality and you're just so wrapped up in it to the point where like you're just incapable of seeing reason anymore.
Yeah.
And I've also
And that will
noticed
determine if we are.
I'm taking a look here, and because you know how, I mean, during his first term especially and during Biden's term, Trump would always be out there on as if he was on the campaign trail doing rallies and whatnot. And I noticed that he actually doesn't. He hasn't done one since April 29th, which is actually kind of surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if he does one like maybe sometime soon, but he was just always rallying.
Mhm.
But the last one was in Michigan, April 29th.
Into that
He's been traveling a
sociocultural
lot.
segmentation.
That's right. Yeah.
And that will determine if we are indeed in the middle of a culture war that could kill the country. If we are, I'm sorry to say it will probably be at least another generation before we see real progress. That means sometime in the 2030s. On that bright note, one of the right-wing media machine's favorite distraction tactics is to harangue the left about playing identity politics, which is classic right-wing projection, by the way. By identity politics, conservatives are, of course, referring to race, gender, and country of origin. Well, since Trump's base is 90% white, mostly male, and almost entirely devoid of immigrants, traditional identity politics analysis of their demographics does not yield a lot of insight into who these people are. Analysis of their psychographics, however, reveals that there are three major overlapping sects of MAGA, with heartless one percenters as the fourth that manipulates the remaining three. MAGA America is an amalgamation of Confederate flag waving, Bible beating, gun nuts. Sometimes the MAGA bro or B is one of the above, two of the above, or all of the above. But if they're MAGA and they're not one percenters, they're never none of the above. Notice I didn't say Bible readers or responsible gun owners. That's a crucial distinction because I do not dismiss every Christian or gun owner as intellectually inferior. I got nothing but love for the Christ-like Christians, but I won't suffer the Antichrist Confederate Christians. I'd be down to go hunting with a gun enthusiast anytime, but the guy with the panic room stocked with AR-15s is not someone I'm likely to trust. The most difficult aspect of MAGA to accept is its size.
Yeah.
After years of paying attention to political polls, particularly polls related to GOP psychographics, I can tell you with absolute certainty that Confederate flag-waving, Bible-beating gun nuts constitute at least 2/3 of GOP voters. 2/3. The easiest way, and perhaps the best way to gauge the number of Trump Republicans versus the number of anti-Trump Republicans within the GOP is any poll related to the 2020 election denial. Since 2021, those polls have ranged from 61% to 72% of likely GOP voters believing that the 2020 election was stolen, with the earliest and latest polls both favoring an accurate estimate of roughly 2/3 of likely GOP voters being blind faith Trumplicans. If you assume roughly half the country votes Republican and the other half votes Democrat, MAGA is roughly 1/3 of the voting public, since 1/2 of 2/3 is 1/3. Since Trump received 75 million votes in 2020, this arithmetic works out to at least 50 million American voters being MAGA.
Yeah.
This was one of the most popular shorts that I ever did, was that statistic right there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are in denial about that. They think that it's way smaller. And I think it's actually bigger now. I think it's actually like 65 million people would identify themselves as MAGA in today's America.
I mean, it also depends on how open they're going to be about that, because I mean, you can kind of see it here and there. There's a lot of disillusioned MAGA types right now who are kind of regretting their vote for him because I didn't vote for chaos, and he said he'd be doing this day one, and everything's still so expensive. I didn't like.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know I was gonna be the one paying for tariffs or this and that, and it's just like it's too late, bud. Like you
Yeah.
were warned. You were literally all
Yeah.
warned multiple times. All of you were
Yeah.
warned.
We told you so,
So
man.
so like
Before-
if anything, it's like maybe just like there's a reluctance to identify as such. Maybe they still believe in the values of MAGA and whatnot, but they see that the, the it's just not being delivered, and they were bamboozled for what it's worth.
At the absolute least, 50 million adult Americans can be
Mm,
described as either Confederate flag wavers, Bible beaters, gun nuts, or some combination of those labels.
mhm.
Think about that as you watch the remaining parts of this episode. Because if you look at the other subcultures in America, none of them are bigger than the collection of MAGA, Confederate flag waving, Bible beating gun nuts.
Man,
The second most difficult aspect of MAGA to accept is that this sociocultural amalgamation has been an enormous part of American society since the country's founding and will always be an enormous part of American society. If you've ever lived in the Deep South, even in cities as bright and vivacious as Nashville, Nolens, and Charleston, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the societal flame of white trash ignorance will never be extinguished because
yeah,
it cannot be extinguished. It cannot be extinguished because there will always be ignorance, there will always be pride, and there will always be fear. If you've watched the NFL this season, you might have noticed end racism. It takes all of us painted in the end line. What a wonderful country America would be if this goal were attainable.
mm,
The proclamation itself admits that the goal is unattainable because all of us is impossible in a free society of over 330 million people.
yeah. But it
There
sounds
will
good though,
always
right?
be a large percentage, a larger percentage than any of us would ever care to admit, of our society that chooses ignorance, pride, and fear over cognizance, humility, and hope. Put more simply, try as you might, lefties, centrists, independents, and anti Trump Republicans, even if we all work together to do it. Killing racism in America is impossible.
Mm.
Replacing organized religion with evolved spirituality is impossible. Bringing gun nuts back from gun obsession to responsible gun ownership is impossible.
Yeah.
Oh, you tell him, Deter. You tell him.
Yeah, I mean, the rhetoric that goes along with end racism and whatnot. There's a naivety to it, like that's without a
Hey,
doubt.
no, real quick. So, is this video on your YouTube channel, or is this another? So, this is actually in my videos. Just search my old videos. So, you're in my live space right now. Check out the videos category, and you'll find it. The Who Are MAGA series.
Yeah,
Um,
good to see you, anonymous bastard.
the the whole thing I'm trying to do there is kill this idea of kumbaya. We're all gonna get along someday. Kill
Right.
this idea that like the Confederate flag waving, Bible beating gun nut is going to show up at the yoga party and
No.
do some downward dog with you guys. Okay. It's not going to happen. It's not going to
Right.
happen. These people are not going to change. They would rather die. In fact, many of them want to die for their culture because it would give them a sense of purpose. They
Of
have weird
course.
death wishes. You got to stop.
Well,
You got to
yeah.
stop. Like, if you're on the left, you got to like stop acting like you know these people.
Yeah.
You got to stop acting like you can empathize with them because you can't unless you came from a conservative culture in some way, shape, or form,
Mm-hmm.
you do not understand conservatism. You do not
Right.
understand what has been exposed as the evil of conservatism. I mean, this is evil. What is
Yeah.
happening right now in Washington with Trump
Yeah.
2.0 is fucking evil.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree with that, again, I'm back to treating him like a child.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up and listen because you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is look at what's going on to realize that you're wrong.
Of course. Yeah.
And an adult and a man takes it, takes it like and admits that they're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
No, exactly. And it's like the best we can really fucking hope for is, you know, maybe these people won't go away, but they'll be a lot quieter,
Yeah.
if anything.
Yeah.
Like have a little bit of fucking shame.
Right.
You know,
But they
that's
won't because they're children.
of course.
And they're going
Yeah.
to come up with some reason why this jumbo jet that he's getting gifted from Cotter is okay.
Yeah.
They're going to come up with that's okay. It's not going to fucking
Yeah,
affect them.
yeah. I was fucking arguing with someone on fucking Twitter on my other account that's not politically related, about how, somehow this isn't corruption. Like somehow, because people just give out $400 million gifts and shit, and it's just like his response every time, because he was like fucking in multiple people's replies and shit was like, well, Biden got jewelry from different world leaders and got these gifts and shit and too. It's just like, motherfucker, this idea that, oh, they did it so we get to do it, or if they do it it's okay, but like it's not okay that we do it. It's just like
Hypocrisy.
you're supposed to grow out of this mindset by the time you're 6. Like, just because someone else is doing it doesn't make it
Right.
okay. And,
But I don't
it's
I
like,
think that's where we're a little different from lefties out there, where it's like the respect is the problem.
yeah, there's no
So
respect due right there. Like,
Bernie going on and Schultz at the end of it, he should have been like, it shouldn't take me to come on here for you to
Mhm.
reach these conclusions. You should be
yeah,
doing your own homework and you should be
yeah,
figuring these things out on your own.
yeah. I mean,
So I'm glad we had a productive conversation,
mhm,
but I still don't really respect you because everything I've told you today, you could have found out on your own if you had any inkling of intellectual curiosity. Like,
yeah,
it's not hard to figure this shit out. That's what's fucking crazy. Is
yeah.
it's not hard to figure this shit out.
And I think a big part of it has to do with the social circles as well, like who they
Yeah.
surround themselves with. Because it's like, if you're just going to be, um, if the purpose of your content is to appeal to a certain group of people, or, you know, appease your friends or who you think might be your friends, or get into this lane, this niche, then it's just like, of course you're going to be like, you're going to insulate yourself. You're stuck in the bubble. You're not going to go out of your way to welcome on people with varying like disagreements with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what else is going on that you want to talk about. I mean, you went to the Middle East. People are trying to say, oh, maybe foreign policy, he'll chalk up some wins. Maybe he'll facilitate a peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia. It's like,
That's fallen
I
through.
don't. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. And I couldn't care less because he's still white trash Hitler to me, and that's what I keep waiting for someone on the left. See, that's another thing and this is, I
Hmm.
think, what this show is going to become about. You and me talking is like what's
Hmm.
missing from the left in
Yeah.
terms of their rhetorical strategy.
Yeah.
No one is talking at MAGA. No one is saying you're wrong.
Hmm.
Shut up, sit down, and get out of the way. Like, no one's saying,
Right.
like, you have had your chance
Hmm.
to have your politics applied to our system, and they haven't worked. If you
Yeah.
don't agree with that, go do your homework, and you'll find out I'm right. But until you're ready to repent, and go on social media and say, I'm sorry I supported Trump. Until you're
Hmm.
ready to repent, don't expect to be respected. Don't expect to be welcome in blue cities. Don't expect to be respected when you bring it up in conversations. Like this is the thing about when you come from the conservative culture is it's not enough to just tell them to just ignore them because they will not be ignored. That's the whole point, is for them to get attention.
Of
So when
course.
they keep nagging you and nagging you and nagging you, you finally look them in the face and say, "Shut up. It's not about you anymore."
Yeah.
It's been about you for 45 fucking years. So it's
Yes.
not
Yes.
about you anymore. Sit
Yep.
down, shut up, and let the next generation of educated and enlightened Americans go to work.
Bingo. Yeah, I mean, that's actually just such a great way to put it, because a lot of these people, a lot of MAGA trash, a lot of people who voted for Trump 3 fucking times, they saw him from the beginning as a a, a vehicle for them to project themselves onto.
Yes.
You know, it's like
A human
they're
fuck you to change.
yes, yeah, like people looking at him like, oh, well, I can get away with what I want now. I can finally say what I've been thinking this whole time, but haven't, because of progress under Obama. As minuscule as that may have been. Um, but yeah, they use Trump as a means to like give attention to themselves.
Right.
It's why they're so peacocky. They're so you know. Up, the flags, the stickers, the MAGA hats and whatnot. They very showboaty, and
Yeah.
Trump
In your
basically opened
face.
up. Yeah, yeah. But now, like nowadays, it's just like, how much can you get away with that? Because people are so fucking tired of Trump. Like it took him getting fucking reelected for a lot of people who weren't as convinced that, oh, it's not going to be as bad. He was president before, and it wasn't that bad, even though it was actually really fucking bad. So like people just weren't as concerned, or as convinced this time around. And so now, like, a lot more people who may have been more apolitical under Biden are like, oh shit, this is actually incredibly bad. And maybe and even there are a lot of MAGA types, people who say that they vote for Trump. And I'm actually being sent examples of this pretty often from a friend of mine, who post on Facebook or what have you, about their regrets and how disappointed they
Yeah.
are with Trump's
Yeah.
second term. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's about fucking time. If only you could have been like convinced beforehand, like, hey, this is what he plans to do. Oh, lo and behold, he's fucking doing it. Oh wow, who would have thought? It's fucking,
But that has
So
to be the condition, though. Like, you must repent. You can't
yeah,
just be like, oh, well, I, was MAGA, but not anymore. It's like, okay, so do you say you're
yeah,
sorry?
yeah.
Because
Acknowledge
if
you
you
were
don't,
wrong.
then you're in the way, man. This is not just about, oh, we had a MAGA moment and
Yeah,
we indulged in that conservatism and we should never do that again. It's like, no, this is a
yeah.
verdict on all of conservative thought since 1980.
Bingo. Especially if your behavior has alienated those around you and shit. It's just like, this is like, you should have been listening all along. It shouldn't take the country falling apart and veterans benefits be stripped away, Medicaid to be put on
Yeah,
the
but that's
chopping
like an
block,
alcohol. That's to use my Alcoholics
the rock
Anonymous
bottom.
thing, where
Yeah,
it's you got to hit rock bottom. You got
no,
to
of
go into
course.
debt. You got to
Hmm.
you got to just go to hell on earth
Yeah,
before you like have nothing, and you're like, whoa,
yep,
I've got a fucking problem. And that's what we're addicted to. We're addicted to.
yes.
You can call it conservative capitalism, but
Hmm.
even more basic than that, we're addicted to greed, man. People are so fucking greedy in this
Dude,
country.
of
Everyone
course.
wants so much more than they need. And it's
Hmm.
just like, what do and they're all fucking
Yeah.
conservatives. They're all obsessed with
Hmm.
competition. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
like, I've
Yeah,
just had it. And I've just had it.
yeah.
And
It's
I've just
old.
been sitting around, like, I've been, avoiding politics a lot because it just upsets me. And
Yeah.
you know, like we were gonna do the Morning Bro series, but I was like, I don't really want to watch these fucking fools.
I don't
And
blame you. Yeah, like
I
like
mean, I just couldn't. It's not like a year. We should have done it a year ago. Like it was kind of fun then, but ever since they bent the knee to
Yeah.
Trump and like try to expect me to take them seriously, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like
Not as
we got to
interesting.
come in with a fucking machine gun to this
Mhm.
party and just be like, you
Of
guys,
course.
it's time for you to sit down, shut up, and listen. Like
No, of course.
there's a great monologue. You ever seen that movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman?
Never saw that one though.
So it was a very troubled high school, and he comes in and they try to do like these polite introductions from the faculty members, yada, yada, yada. He's like, sit down. You think you know how to run this school? Well, if you did, then I wouldn't be here. Now, would I? So that's what we need to do with the Democratic Party is like,
No.
no,
Yeah.
Schumer, Pelosi, like, you're going to get behind a new leader.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then we're just going to continue to protest you until you're gone.
No,
Because
of
you are the
course.
problem. Chuck
It's-
Schumer is done like dinner. I mean,
Yeah.
it's too bad his term isn't up for another 4 years or something, right? Though.
I think in 2028. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something
If-
for yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
so
it's
good.
like. Yeah. In the meantime, like when it comes to the party, like stop fucking bullying
I
David
think
Hogg.
AOC should just say fuck it and run for president. I think she should just run. Fuck it.
Maybe.
Like,
I
why
mean.
not?
Yeah. I
Why
mean.
not?
Sure. I mean, there is still the I think Tim Walz is actually pretty hungry for it. So if anything, AOC should go for Schumer's seat. I mean, she's being begged to even by a lot of her, like not just her constituents, but a lot of people within the party who are just so fucking
What happened to
tired
the
of
David
Schumer.
Hogg thing? Are they going after him?
They're still going. Yeah, they're. We covered it fucking yesterday. The gist of it is, um, the DNC is upset with him about you know the fact that he's daring to um go threaten um do nothing Democrats that are in safe districts for them, who are, not going after Trump strongly enough. And now, of course, he's fucking like getting it from all corners of the DNC and whatnot. But apparently, from USA Today, much of the media narrative all about this is briefly cited has been what been a procedural error during DNC's February 1st election for new party officers with an apparent violation of the party's bylaws, prompting a challenge that looks likely to lead to a do-over election. So they're trying to fucking do over the election of the DNC heads right now.
Uh-huh.
And they're saying it's like a procedural thing, and it probably won't even happen for another yeah. So see here. Yeah, the DNC vice chairs David Hogg, Malcolm Kenyatta, who've been slugging out and doing news interviews. Yeah, saying that Hogg picked a fight with the DNC because he announced his intention to spend $20 million to challenge incumbent Democrats in
Right.
Congress to be that he considered to be like out of touch. Fucking
And then James Carville raised hell.
yeah, and he's not the only
James
one
Carville
either.
still has so much power. It's ridiculous how much power
I
James
hate how
Carville
much
has.
influence he has. It's
So annoying.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. All
Yeah,
right, I'm gonna go ahead.
go ahead. So he's just like being the target and like being smeared in like all sorts of articles in multiple outlets. Like the other vice chair. Kenyatta's like reforming the Democratic Party does not mean spending every single day doing interviews saying Democrats suck, and just like like shut the fuck up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going after David Hogg because he's daring to go after do nothing Democrats that aren't going after Trump enough. And David Hogg even specifies like I'm not gonna go after like at risk districts and shit, or if you're
No,
pulling
he
your
just
weight
wants
going
new,
against Trump.
younger, more exciting
Yeah.
But he trips over himself too.
No, yeah, we covered
People,
that a little bit, yeah.
we can't do justice to it. Mike Figueredo, for those of you who guys
Yeah.
don't know who he is, check him out on the Humanist Report. He does a great job covering
Yeah.
this, and explains it better than we can. So check him
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna run, dude. I'm gonna get back to my life. I've
Sure.
had enough of politics. If you want to stay on, by all means, go. But
For sure.
you know,
No,
until then,
I don't blame you, dude.
I'm going to remind my audience that you don't get change in America by asking nicely. And if the 3 strikes out approach to Trumplicans in your life, just apply that. If they voted for Trump 3 times, you're better off without them.
No, of
Any
course.
final parting thoughts, Stat Pat?
Nah,
for my audience?
that's pretty much it. We'll be back next week. More than likely. I mean, just to, like, I guess, escape the brunt of covering the news and shit, because there's not much going on that may change. Of course, we'll cover what we can.
Yeah, we'll try to get back on more. We'll try to get back on once more.
Yeah, but if anything, next week I wouldn't be opposed to diving a bit more into the Who Are MAGA series, of which there's plenty to work with. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good, man.
Awesome.
All right, take care.
For sure. You as well.